Get ready, Staten Island. It's time to celebrate 5 years of Ferry Hawks baseball. Come out to the ballpark this week as the Ferry Hawks welcome in the Charleston Dirty Birds May 5th through the 10th. Grab the kids and come on out. We kick it off on Tuesday, May 5th with Cinco de Baseball with $5 tickets and $5 food and beverage specials. And we end the week as we celebrate all moms on Mother's Day. Moms get in free. Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi. Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
And this Back the Blue segment coming from Groton, Connecticut, where police received a very urgent radio call from Groton ambulance personnel who were crossing the Gold Star Bridge and reported a man who had one leg over the top of the bridge's security barrier. Very scary situation. The officers immediately arrived on scene where they located the man who was obviously in distress, and he was straddling on the bridge security barrier positioned at the northern section of the I-95, the interstate southbound span of that bridge. Very scary situation. So they say they began a very positive, heartfelt dialogue with him, saying, hey, can you talk to us? Can we talk to you? I want you, brother. I really do. Come on, give me a shot. Talk to me. They ended up speaking to the man, and eventually the man asked one of the officers if he could give him a hug. What a great story. And to which, of course, the officer agreed. He told the man that he would give him a hug if he came down. The man slowly climbed down from the security barrier. The officer walked towards him, and the two embraced. And the man could be heard crying as the officer continued to talk to him, thanking him for coming down. The man, of course, was taken to a hospital for further evaluation. Thankfully, he is now getting the mental health assistance that he needs. And wow, what a beautiful story and powerful story about our men and women in blue and the very difficult situations that they often have to confront. Well, we are talking about Hassan Piker and his crazy, ridiculous comments that he made. He has always, I think, just made some really repulsive comments, praising Hamas, saying America deserved 9/11. And then, of course, he comes out right after this new decision from the Virginia State Supreme Court. And in this particular case, he's calling for a revolution because he's not happy with the state Supreme Court. This is frightening because when the decision looked like it was going in the favor of Democrats to get new seats in the state of Virginia, he came out and Obama came out and said it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. But now when the state Supreme Court comes in and overturns that and says, no, this is not appropriate, this isn't within the state constitution, this is not a good thing, now suddenly he's calling for a revolution? That's like my way or the highway, and that's frightening because you got to abide by what the courts say. Even if you don't like it, you got to take it through the process. But this guy, it's like either you're with us or a revolution. And that is so dangerous in this very highly charged environment. Well, earlier today on Katz and Cosby, John and I were talking with Laura Trump, of course, the president's daughter-in-law. She hosts the big show there on Fox News on Saturday nights. And Laura was telling us what a huge deal the state Supreme Court case is for Republicans. And this is why Hassan Piker is freaking out, because this decision could very well play an enormous role in potentially the Republicans keeping the House of Representatives, because the Democrats now don't have a lot of time to find other states that they can kind of reapportion, that they can do redistricting in. So they're limited now because they're up against the clock in different state constitutions. So if they didn't get a lot of seats on this one, they may not be able to overturn a whole bunch of them, but the Republicans are already on their way with Texas and with Florida and elsewhere. So this may spell bad news for the Democrats, and that's why they're freaking out. So listen to Laura Trump talking about what a big win it is for the GOP.
Oh my gosh, yes. Thank goodness, thank goodness, thank goodness. This is exactly what we had hoped to see happen. You know, we've seen so many of these activist judges across the country really advocating against not just the Trump administration, but really our entire country, guys. And so for the Supreme Court to come back with this ruling, I think it was obviously a huge win. And look, this could really change a lot. You know, we understand that the reason the Democrats have, you know, pushed all of this redistricting is simply because they know that their policies are not something for which the American people want to vote. So they're hoping they can just flip these districts and cram in, you know, their people so that they can have more power when it comes to the U.S. Congress. This could be a game changer for Republicans. This is a very big deal.
A very, very big deal indeed, guys. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Norm on line one. And Norm from Brooklyn. I love when you always call in. Norm, you always have good stuff. Norm, what do you got?
Okay, what do I got? I mean, was Andy Warhol said every person gets their 15 minutes of fame. And I think Hassan Piker is up to about 18 already, and I think Hassan Piker needs to just go away. First thing, his name. Okay, Hassan Piker. Is he? Where the hell is he from? Originally, you say he's a foreigner?
Yeah, he is, I believe. I'm going to look it up right now while we're here on the phone. Let's try to figure it out here because we need to know his background of where he is.
I don't think he's a Muslim. He must have been a convert. I have this feeling.
Yep, exactly. But you know what the problem is too? Regardless of his background, you know, you have to look at, I believe he may be American born, this guy. But there are a lot of people around him that clearly are not. Exactly. I believe he's actually, if I remember, I have to look it up, but I believe he's actually was born in New Jersey or something, which is that
figures.
Exactly. Yeah. But you know, the problem is the people that are around him. And he surrounds himself with so many of these individuals who are not American citizens, where there should be some flexibility. It's a crazy situation that we have a number of these folks who clearly don't seem to share American values. And that's how I feel about this Mahmoud Khalil guy. That's the guy who was protesting, on college campuses. That guy.
Oh, that guy deport.
Yeah. But he's still here and he's still fighting. You know, our American legal system, which is why anybody who gets entangled with it from this kind of a perspective, they give people the benefit of the doubt time after time after time. And Mahmoud Khalil is still dealing with it, even though he's gotten final deportation orders. He's still fighting it tooth and nail. I mean, that's the American system.
When I hear Hassan Piker speak, to me, it's like, I hear it. This is sort of at least middle class or upper class, college kid, Nepo baby, the Che Guevara wannabe.
Yeah, and I think he grew up overseas. Actually, hang on. Here's some background on him. I was right, actually. He was from New Jersey. All right, to Turkish parents. He grew up in Istanbul.
Interesting.
Yep, and he was raised as a Muslim. At least his family was. So, yeah, very interesting.
Not usually very extremists coming out of Turkey, but...
Really?
Okay.
What part of Turkey have you been to?
I don't know if fundamentalism is so integral to Turkey. I don't know. Austria is filled with them, and most of them are mad cool. I mean, I love the Turks in Austria as much as I love most of the Viennese Catholics.
By the way, he's actually doing quite well. It says he bought a $2.7 million home in West Hollywood. So he's very popular. He was part of the Young Turks, which was, the Young Turks was a left-leaning network. And he went to University of Miami. And he's got a huge following.
All these commie affectations, and money is all around him and just loving and enjoying the capitalist lifestyle.
Well, and riling up people, because when you say, a revolution at a place like this right now, And I say a place, meaning America, where we are so divided and we're heading into midterms. And I really worry, Norm, you and I talked about this, Norm, that I feel like we're headed into even more treacherous, dangerous territory because people are going to get even more, I feel violent. I feel riled up. I feel like the rhetoric and I pray for our president too, Norm. I mean, he's about to go on, a very kind of sensitive trip over there to China, and I'm worried about him. I am worried, and I worry about his safety in America too.
So do I.
Big time.
I don't know, this Hassan Piker. So what does he do for a living? Essentially,
he riles people up.
He's a social influencer.
Yeah, he's an internet sensation. And, Norm, you got to give him credit. At least he knows how to rile people up. And he does have an A+ at that. I'll give him that one. 1-800-848-9222. Norm, thank you. Always great to hear from you. Let's go to Alice in Ohio. Line 5. Go ahead, Alice.
Hi, Rita. We have too many people who are trying to undermine this country. With Piker, I heard that he was naturalized. So if he grew up in Turkey, where was he actually born? How was he?
I think he was born in New Jersey. That's what I just saw. Yeah, that's why it was interesting. Right. I actually thought it was the other way around too, but it looks like I believe he was born, even though he seems like he's from another country. He was born actually in New Jersey, but raised in Istanbul.
All right. Well, okay. We have people in our government. I'm drawing a blank now. The woman who married her brother.
Ilhan Omar.
Yes. We need to get rid of her. Why can't we know who these people are? Why can't they be investigated and deported? I mean, why are we allowing these people to undermine the country? They're charismatic. They know how to stir people up, and we're in a very sensitive time. I mean, everyone knows that. Why are people sitting on their hands and just letting these people go? And then Omar, too, is now calling this racist. I mean, she's grasping at straws. Why are we allowing it?
It is shocking. It is. And Alice, I actually think we do need to put the screws to a number of these people in terms of deporting them. But let's go back. I brought up the case of this Mahmoud Khalil because he was born, I know, in Syria. And he was the one who was leading all those protests on Columbia University campus. And remember, they, arrested him. Then they wanted to deport him for riling up all these students, all these different protests. And guess what? They still haven't been able to deport him yet. And it's been going still through the legal system, even though, he says, it's First Amendment. And his friend, Zohran Mamdani, the mayor of New York, keeps saying, what a wonderful person. By the way, he's hanging around Mahmoud Khalil. He's hanging around Hassan Piker. And that's why, these characters are so dangerous. They seem to show up at all these different rallies. At least Hassan Piker shows up. Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut is embracing him. That candidate in Michigan's embracing him. A lot of these candidates. Ro Khanna went on Hassan Piker's podcast recently, even after he said America deserved 9/11. I mean, what are these people doing? Showing up, if you don't know who the person is, that's different. But this guy has been a big blaring billboard, Alice, and they still continue to coddle him. What does that say to you? That they're willing to sort of sacrifice their soul because they seem to think this guy has a lot of following. It's almost like the Mamdani syndrome. During the campaign, he made a lot of kooky, crazy comments, but it seemed like a lot of people were willing again there to forgive him because they wanted his followers, right?
But this is not a First Amendment issue. This is undermining the country. Where is the House Un-American Activities Committee? That used to be a very powerful committee. What are they doing? Why are they not looking into these people? What you do, you isolate the troublemakers, get rid of them. We have enough people who were born in this country. We have to keep them. They're citizens. But we've got troublemakers. Get rid of them.
I agree. And you know what the problem is, Alice? They often talk like they're going to do something. Even people in the administration say, hey, we're looking into. And then they get entangled in the court system, that these people, they find a sympathetic judge who says, well, and then another one says, no, that's not correct. This person should be deported. Then the other one says, no, they should stay. And here it is. I mean, I believe this whole thing with Mahmoud Khalil, this has been dragging on for a long time. I mean, so, they know how to sort of play the court system. And a lot of them have a lot of money behind them, too, because they're trying to send a message to America, sadly.
Where is the money coming from? Follow the money. This guy in Hong Kong, an American citizen who's a multimillionaire. Neville
Roy Singham.
Yes. Why are our legislators, are they so afraid they're not going to be reelected that they're not doing their job? That's selfish.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I think the Republicans are trying, but it seems like Democrats are caving. We're losing, there used to be sort of the common sense Democrats. Maybe you'd have a few crazies, but now it's like the crazies have taken over the Democratic Party, and they're afraid of these loonies. They're afraid of the power of these loonies. And they're afraid, to anger Hassan Piker or a Mahmoud Khalil or someone like that their X amount of followers suddenly won't support that candidate and will go up against that candidate, even if they say the most vile, horrible things. They're willing to turn another cheek just for numbers. And that's a very sad place to be. And it says a lot about their morals or lack thereof. Alice, thank you very much. Pray for America, Alice. Pray for America. Our job is to put some sunlight on it. Hopefully that helps. 1-800-848-9222. And everybody will continue your calls when we come back here on The Rita Cosby Show.
The Marine Toys for Tots foster care program is bringing hope to children who need it most. Every 2 minutes, a child enters foster care, often with only a small bag of belongings. More than 400,000 children face trauma and uncertainty, many before age 8. This May, during Foster Care Awareness Month, Toys for Tots is creating Room for Joy. In 2025, nearly 375,000 children received comfort through toys, books, and essentials, reminding them they are not alone. Donate now and change a child's life.